Today we have one of the hottest, highest hitting decks in the meta, Blacephalon. Welcome back, little flexers. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we have Blacephalon. I was inspired to make this video by a tournament performance that I had a couple of weeks ago where I got absolutely smoked by Blacephalon with my Eternatus Poison deck. And I felt like Blacephalon maybe didn't have what it took to be a top tier threat in the metagame, but if you look at where the metagame is centralizing around, I think ADP is on the downturn, which was one of, I thought, Blacephalon's harder matchups to get around. And we see things like Pikarom, Centiskorch, and Eternatus on the upswing. So this deck, I think, absolutely has a lot of things that it can do to compete with those three decks that I just mentioned. And one of the things that I think makes Blacephalon a really top choice of players is just the sheer consistency. You're always going to be able to do things that you want to do. And you look here at this deck list, look at how many lines of cards there are. There are 2. It is very much a cut and dry deck list. We have our 4 Jirachi, our 4 Blacephalon, our Jirachi's here, Stellar Wish. We're going to want to be able to use that over and over again to get out our trainers and items and supporters that we need for the turn. We've included 2 Cramorant. I found Cramorant to be not only good for the early game beat catch and searching up to 2 cards from your deck and putting them into your hand, but also for the spit shot. You can knock out the opponent's Dedenne, and that's very, very relevant for the end of the game when you might be running low on other resources. We have a couple of setup Pokemon here, 2 Dedenne-GX. You could go a 1-1 split Dedenne and Crobat, but I've just kind of found that the 2 Dedenne is the most optimal for me because there are sometimes hands in the early game where you have just too much energy. You can't really play many of the cards and you just need to pitch it for a fresh hand. So I like the 2 Dedenne here as opposed to the split. We also have 1 Zacian V and 1 Oricorio. Oricorio, I've seen in lists as a 2 of. I don't think that's a pretty crazy idea because a lot of times what the opponent will try to do is gust up the Oricorio and knock it out, and then play something like a reset stamp to reset the hand. But if you play 2 Oricorio, that is perfectly reasonable. We just have the 1 in the deck. Those are some other really nice cards for Oricorio in the late game and Zacian in the early game. Coming down to the energy, we have 17 fires and 4 retrievals and 4 fire crystals. So we have pretty much maxed out the amount of retrieval that we can have here for this deck. I could see someone cutting a fire energy or maybe even 2 considering we have 4 crystal and 4 retrieval, but I like the increased fire count because it helps me draw them naturally off something like Oricorio or Welder. Welder being the only draw supporter that we have in the entire deck, going to be able to attach those energy cards to the Blacephalon, get that thing loaded up and ready to smash. And we also have 1 Boss's Orders as just another way in the late game to pull something active that's an easy prize on the bench for us to take. Or if we had already, swung into a VMAX or something that we couldn't quite knock out, we have Boss's Orders to try to take the last prizes. Got 4 Giant Hearth in here. You absolutely need 4 of this card, in my opinion, because you need to be able to get around Chaotic Swell and you want to be able to have a stadium out whenever you need it. Got our 4 Switch, our 4 Scoop Up Net, mostly utilizing this Jirachi, and then 4 Quick Ball to finish out the list. Let me know what you guys think of this deck list. Do you think a Blacephalon list as simple as this has the ability to perform well in the Players' Cup? I'd really love to know down in the comments below. Enjoy these next couple of games. We are running free on Pete CGO. No stream today, so we get to just talk about whatever we want, and I hope you enjoy the gameplay there. I'll talk to you guys in a second. Remember, good luck, and also have fun. Enjoy these games. I hope those of you that are playing in the Players' Cup have an absolute blast playing there. I know it'll be really fun. Riley, Michael Zeely, and Andrew Mahone are all playing, 3 friends that I have done a lot of testing with in the past, and I'm excited to see how well that they do in this upcoming Players' Cup because, it'd be great to see one of them take it down. I know Riley has been, since quarantine started, he's been a little bit on the back foot in terms of playing. He just works really long hours, and then the weekends he likes to just veg out and chill. So I totally understand that on his part, and I would love to just see him perform in one of these tournaments. I think that'd be really, really cool. For Andrew, obviously, it's always good for the brand to see him perform well. And so I'd love to see that for him just because, he's one of the better players in the game, to be sure. And almost pulling off a win in the Players' Cup round number 1 was really a cool thing to see. So we'll go ahead and Intrepid Sword. We get very useful cards. But that's okay. This deck like this, especially against an Eternatus, like we're just gonna take our time, be chill, and try to blow up 2 Eternatus VMAX. But if you're going to play in the Players' Cup, I mean, some words of advice: pick a consistent deck. You know, it's best 2 out of 3, and then double a limb. So like you're not gonna get that many chances to dead draw, and so I would just say pick a consistent deck and pick a deck that has a chance against a lot of things. Or if you go with a deck that's kind of more rogue and fringe, make sure that you understand exactly the matchups that you need to hit in order to do well. Because if you're picking a rogue and fringe deck that beats like one of the top meta decks, but you don't expect that top meta deck to be in the field, then, or to comprise a majority of the field, then it might not be worth it to play that deck. So just know those matchups going in. I think that's one of the biggest things that I can say for anyone that like is ever looking to do well at any tournament, is just know what you're getting yourself into, because that'll help you make a better deck choice. Again, if you don't know what the metagame is going to be, if you really have no pulse of what the metagame would be for a tournament, then just pick something very consistent that you know very well and that you know is going to perform for you. But if you do kind of want to make certain predictions and you want to go maybe more rogue or in a more specialized deck choice, then that also can work, but you just have to know what you're getting yourself into. All right. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's take out a couple of more energy. I almost wonder at this point if I do want to retreat or not, because I kind of feel like a Marnie's coming up, and I would like to have the Jirachi for the Marnie. So I'm going to attach to the Blacephalon and then Intrepid Sword. We're really just looking for some Welder opportunities here. We might be able to get it on the next turn. So we'll see what my opponent does on their turn. They might be able to do something like with the Zigzagoon Pings and the Hoopa. We have 60 damage, or excuse me, 2 abilities there. So 50 damage from the Hoopa. We do see 10 come onto the Jirachi, but I don't think that they have a Gust or anything like that. So another Quick Ball comes down. We should see a Crobat. I do have another inclination about the Players' Cup in that I feel like there will be a surprising amount of fire. I think Centiskorch is something that, I mean, I don't understand, but I think a lot of people are interested in Centiskorch and will play it for the Players' Cup. So that's not ever something that I want to take an L to, because it seems like certain decks in the format, just like you pretty much hard L to Centiskorch with something like Luke Metal, even if you play the weakness cards. Like, it's pretty rough. I mean, and I think Luke Metal players that have played the matchup a lot are like, oh no, you can get around it, but it makes it really, really tough to win the game there. And we see my opponent probably not hitting into that VMAX, so gonna just scoop it up. So fire is something that I see on the rise, particularly that Centiskorch. And then another deck that I think will just maintain a very consistent presence is Pikarom. I think Pikarom has been one of the most consistent in terms of the performance of the deck consistently throughout this format, ever since it kind of picked up steam like a month and a half ago. ADP is really hit and miss. If you look at tournament results from ADP decks, you'll see a lot of the ADP decks, either dominating the competition or not even getting a top 8 in certain tournaments. So it feels very kind of fluid with ADP. I talked about this a little bit on the podcast last night, but the reasons for playing ADP are becoming slimmer and slimmer. I feel like it has less and less really good matchups in the format. I would look at something like Eternatus being a pretty bad matchup for ADP, among other things. Blacephalon gonna Blacef. And so again, like ADP generally consistent, but I don't know that it has necessarily the firepower to beat consistently things like, I mean, maybe Centiskorch, but particularly Eternatus. And then the mirror is just a nightmare. The mirror is a straight nightmare. Alrighty then. Well, if they don't bench another Pokemon, we could win the game. Yo, let's go. The scoop, baby. Let's go. Okay, well, you let me run wild on PTCGO, and this is the kind of content and gameplay that we're going to get, unfortunately. I hope the conversation has at least been good to hear. You know, certainly, I think, hey, there's something to be said about it's just you and me, and we go on the ladder, and whatever we hit, we hit. Who let JW off stream? But Riley, I think, is heavily leaning towards Pikarom. I think Andrew's leaning heavily towards Pikarom. And those are decks that they don't take a ton of... that deck doesn't take a ton of bad matchups. And you have hammers to get yourself out of really bad spots. And you have Paralyze to get you out of bad spots. And you have Stamp to 1 to get you out of bad spots. And so I think there's a lot of comeback potential with a deck like Pikarom. Plus, there aren't really that many hard counters to Pikarom. I would look at something like the Excadrill deck that has been seeing a lot of play recently as being a deck that I would be concerned about, to be sure, because it certainly is on the rise in popularity. It kind of just came out of nowhere. Before Excadrill, I think Pikarom was the like de facto correct play, but now might be a little bit of a different story. So we'll lead our Blacephalon. You know, you just kind of hope that the Excadrills just all die to... that they all die to the ADPs of the world. You know, that would be my thought, right? If you're trying to metagame for the tournament, you're like, okay, well, my deck loses to Excadrill, but if there's enough ADP in the meta, then I should be okay. We're looking for a quick ball here. We do get it. Okay. It's not really a great discard, but I think the Jirachi is probably it. So we'll go there. Give me that Zacian. And we'll Intrepid Sword. Okay, buddy. Let's go. Blacephalon. Bonkers. Getting those 2 energy and the Welder. I mean, that is like as good as you can get. So we see a Crushing Hammer, and attachment to the active is... never where you want to be if you're Lightning. And I have a feeling they're going to retreat into the Crobat. That's what I would do for sure. You want to save this Coco if you can. So they just had a ton of energy. I feel like if you had the Dedenne before, that you should have maybe not attached the energy. I don't really like that play. It depends. Maybe they Crobatted it into the Dedenne, and so their hands were kind of tied there. But we do see a Boltund. If they have an energy switch, they can retreat, energy switch, and no, they're just going to go into the Crobat. Okay. Or maybe they have a switch in hand. That would seem pretty likely to me as well. So goodbye, Coco. They need one more switch, but man, are they discarding energy. That's 3 hammers gone. There's an E switch. Do they have a switch, and are they going to knock out the Jirachi? That would be a pretty good play for them. It's going to be hard for us, particularly with this Chaotic Swell, to get out our energy. We do obviously have the Oricorio, so we're going to take that. Oh, okay. No, they're just going to electrify. I like that play. I'm curious why they decided to attach those energy there, though, but no matter. We do have the Giant Hearth, although it won't matter here. And we will go with the Stellar Wish. We'll take another Welder. Sure. Probably going to go to the bottom of the deck, but do we think that they have Gust Knockout? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that they probably don't have Gust Knockout. Yo, no, please no Marnie. Please no Marnie. Oh, we really need a no Marnie turn here, because they knock out our Jirachi. They put all our Welder to the bottom. This could be really, really bad. All right, so I'm super happy that we decided to attach to that Blacephalon. I think it's at this point that they, oh my gosh. All right, so we could have maybe Marnie-proofed ourselves by playing the Corey down. Yeah, dude. Oh, no, man. All right, yeah, so I think we're really in a fine position if we can drop the Oricorio. Well, not in a fine position. I should take that back. But, dude... Oh, man. Yo, they got us, bro. They got us. All our welder to the bottom, dude. Oh, that is rough. Okay, so I think we have to go here, and then I think we have to Fireball Circus for 3. That's pretty rough. Okay, so we'll Fireball Circus for 3. They get the second Chaotic Swell. All right, so this is looking horrific. They hit just enough hammers. They went 2 for 2, so got them both. And then at this point, we're gonna need, I think, a Blazer is gonna be our one way out of this. We need to get a Blazer and then establish some board position, but we just don't have that much. I'm gonna drop the Cram. Gonna go here. I think to ensure that the prize trade stays, we hit the Blazer. Enormous. Gonna be able to pick out some prizes here. Get a fire, and we get a fire. So now we need Welder to go after the Dedenne, and then we need to find a Blacephalon. So like we are in some serious trouble here. My opponent is doing extremely well. Gonna boss up. No, they're just gonna knock out the active. I agree with that. Okay, so we need to find Welder or like a quick ball. Yo, and they're gonna try to end the game here. If we don't get a Blacephalon with all the energy that we need, then it's gonna be GG's. We do find that quick ball. I'm gonna go for Dedenne. Anything is possible with a deck like this. There's all this juice, but no. Yeah, we have to attach. We have to attach, and they're just going to tag bolt for the win. Well played. Well played. All right, we got one more game in us. Go ahead and concede out of this one. Got one more game in us with this Blacephalon deck. Hope you guys have been having a great morning. Thank you all for tuning in to the stream. Recently, it's been really great. We've had a recent Wednesday night was a game night, a sub game night with some of the viewers in the chat, and that was a bunch of fun. We played some Among Us, hung out, talked. It was really great. So hop on by all the week of, all the month of November. Every Wednesday night, I normally do an evening stream. And we're going to be playing games with the subs and the viewers. So hop on by twitch.tv/FlexDaddyRighteous. Hope to see you there. All right, let's dial in. Let's get this last win here for Team Blacephalon. You feel me? All right, so another really strong start. I love where we're at here. And I think we can afford to get rid of the Dedenne, actually, because we know we play another one. There's our Zacian. And we can attach. Sure. And then we can go Intrepid Sword. Great. So I wanted to make sure that we kept the fire energy just in case, you don't want to like get too happy with the discards. So I think this is the right play. And we actually do want to go for a knockout on the Jirachi on the next turn. Obviously, it'd be great to get a Mewtwo knockout, but going for a knockout on Jirachi on next turn means that we don't actually have to go through 2 Mewtwo. So it lessens the amount of energy that we need in the overall game because we can go Cramorant on a Dedenne, which they're very likely to play. So this is the routing kind of... Lightning Mewtwo, let's go. All right. I see you, buddy. So now the onus is going to be on us to figure out how to knock out this Vikavolt. It's going to be an awkward thing. We do obviously have the Zacian to just continually Intrepid Sword, but we might want to do something like not actually attacking into the Jirachi. I was talking about our routing options, but maybe there's like at this point, maybe the option is better to go with the Brave Blade. We could take a knockout on the Jirachi. They would bring up Vikavolt and start paralyzing us, or paralyzing bolting us, I should say. The problem with that is like we welder and then we don't take that. I'm trying to figure out how they could one-shot us. They could go with like a Victini V. And that would get kind of spooky. So if we take the knockout there, we're kind of hoping for top decks. If we just go for an Intrepid Sword. The thing is, they could play something like Marnie. We know that they play Reset Stamp. There's already one down. Yeah, you know what? The other thing we could have done is gone in with the Stellar Wish. But I think we're okay. We could also go Cramorant. Could go switch into the Cramorant. And the thing about Cramorant is I'd like to save it, especially if one's prized, because it is weak to electric. It would only be a 2-shot for that Vikavolt. So, okay, and then yeah, I think so. We're gonna take the knockout here. And we're gonna say that our deck is gonna bail us out. We're gonna say that our deck, we get a top deck and we get a prize. I don't want them to have the Stellar Wish. That to me seems really good for my opponent. And then they have to bring up the Vikavolt. They're probably going to Paralyzing Bolt. And then we get at least 2 turns to try to draw into the energy that we need, assuming they don't play a Marnie or a Reset Stamp or something like that. So we have Dedenne. Let's see what they put into the discard. We have Incineroar and Jolteon with 4 fires in the discard. So that's pretty big. Probably looking for them to run low on energy. All right, and we'll go ahead and Intrepid Sword. So no fire energy, but we do get that Giant Hearth. You got to figure that the Mewtwo deck is also going to play a Giant Hearth. So I think we're chilling here. Let's do this. Let's go discard Scoop Up Net. And we could welder onto the bench and try to get the big KO, or we could go 2 to the active. I think we go welder to the bench and see what we draw. See what we draw here. We do get another fire. So we're going to draw 3 here. It's just, are we going to get to enough energy? So we would only need 4. We would need 5 still, because we would need to detach if we Fireball Circused. Circusted. I would love to Blazer and hit, but I think we Fireball Circus. Get them for the 1. They take a knockout. We bring up the we bring up the other Blacephalon. We use Oricorio. See what we can get. We got the Giant Hearth. Go get some more stuff. And we just got to hope that the deck bails us out here. So we see another Welder come down from my opponent. Well, actually, that's our first one. Okay. And the Lightning Energy. Okay. They're planning some money moves here. Planted some big money moves on my opponent's side of the field. All right. But so are we, chat. So are we. Let's go ahead and dance a tribute. Give me some more juice. We will discard here with the Giant Hearth. And we're just going to Intrepid Sword, I think. Seems like the right play. Try to get us some more energy in our hands. So now we're really putting the pressure on our opponent, because they can't just afford to Paralyzing Bolt over and over again. Because as soon as they break the lock, that we just go ham with all our Fire Crystals, Retrievals. We do need to find a Welder, but I'm confident that we still have 2 left in our deck, and it's only 18 cards. So I think if they take a knockout, they would have to like Marnie us or Reset Stamp us, which is probably something they're looking to do here with that massive hand as well. So we see another Paralyzing Bolt. Okay, so we should at this point be able to get the knockout. Yep, we draw an energy that is pretty clutch. I'm going to go here and let's discard a Jirachi. Take a couple of energy. And I could bench another Blacephalon or a Jirachi, but let's not clog the bench up if we don't have to. And then we have to discard 4 energy with Fireball Circus. Always important to keep the numbers in mind before you make plays with Blacephalon. So 200 damage. You're done, bud. And we'll take our couple of prizes. Now it's just up to us to find, really just to find the Welder. The other route that we could go potentially is like blazering 2 Jirachi, but we would have to gust them up, and we only have the 1 gust. So, or we could blazer 1 Jirachi and then cram a Dedenne. That just feels disgusting, if I'm being honest here. So we will just have to play it by ear, and my opponent grabs 2 Jirachi down. We see another switch. They are digging hard for something. And I have a feeling it's the reset stamp. I think they're going to try to reset stamp us and then take the knockout on the active. And then at that point, they would just need to gust twice. So we see a GX. They did the Charizard GX. Oh, Swift Run. Yes, of course. They could obviously Swift Run. Okay, very cool. So they Swift ran. We could go knockout on Dedenne with the Cramorant, but that feels kind of dirty because we are because we aren't winning the game with that. So let's go Energy Retrieval. Let's discard, get the 1 out of the deck. Let's go Stellar Wish. We do get a Welder. But I almost wonder, would it be better to just gust up something here? I mean, because our play is going to be... Yeah, our play is going to be... Let's go here. What do we think? Are they going to gust us and knock us out? Like, that seems like the best thing to do, right? To gust up a Blacephalon and knock us out. So I'm just wondering if we just manually attach and don't play the Welder. Or if we do play the Welder. I mean, we know we want to manually attach. We can Dance of Tribute. So I did that in a little bit of a mixed up order. I should have Dance of Tributed first. We have 2 Welder left. I think we just Welder and we force them to have Gust. And if they have Gust, then they can't Marnie us. I don't know if they play Marnie, but they probably play 1 more reset stamp, which they probably didn't find. I would imagine that they would want to do that on the last turn. So at this point, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and concede. That was the game. They must not have had their other reset stamp, which I think is what they were digging so hard for. And that's GG's. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like Blacephalon for the Players' Cup, let me know down in the comment section below. It's been really fun to bring these videos here over the last couple of weeks. We've been hitting them really, really hard. So if you enjoyed this video and you want somebody else to see it, please make sure to like, subscribe, and that helps the channel grow. Helps other people find this content. And hey, you know what? If you liked it, probably the guy down the street or the guy across the world is also going to like it. So please, again, make sure to support this content, leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Remember, good luck and also have fun.